What if I told you that somewhere right now, in a quiet corner of a garden, one of the most miraculous transformations in all of nature is taking place? A tiny creature is dissolving itself completely, breaking down into living soup and rebuilding itself into something entirely new. This is not science fiction. This is the metamorphosis of a butterfly. And for the next hour, you and I are going to witness this transformation together, from the very beginning to the moment of graceful flight. So take a deep breath, settle in, and let us journey into one of nature's most beautiful mysteries. Our story begins not with wings, but with something far smaller and far more humble. Somewhere on the underside of a leaf, barely visible to your eye, rests a single butterfly egg. It is no larger than a pinhead, a tiny pearl of possibility. The mother butterfly placed it here with extraordinary care, choosing this exact leaf, this exact plant, because she knows something profound. She knows that when her offspring emerges, this plant will be everything: food, shelter, and home. Can you imagine the wisdom encoded in such a simple act? This egg contains all the information needed to create one of nature's most elegant creatures. Look closely at this egg and you will see it is not perfectly smooth. Its surface is covered in intricate ridges and patterns, like a tiny work of art sculpted by nature itself. These patterns are not decoration. They serve a purpose, allowing the egg to breathe, to exchange gases with the world outside. Inside this minute sphere, cells are already dividing and organizing. A blueprint is being followed with astonishing precision. In just a few days, something remarkable will happen. But for now, this egg simply exists in stillness, patient and perfect, waiting for the right moment to reveal what lies within. Days pass in quiet contemplation. The sun rises and sets. The leaf sways gently in the breeze, and inside the egg, the transformation has already begun. This is the first metamorphosis, though we rarely think of it that way. A cluster of cells is becoming an organism. Tiny structures are forming, segments taking shape, a mouth preparing to chew. You might wonder what it feels like in there, in that first home, suspended between existence and emergence. Does the creature inside sense the light filtering through its shell? Does it feel the warmth of the sun? We cannot know, but we can marvel at the patience of this process, the unhurried perfection of nature's timing. And then, when the moment is exactly right, when every cell is in place and every structure ready, the egg begins to change. If you were watching closely, you might see a subtle darkening. The shell, once opaque, becomes translucent. Through it, you can now make out the tiny form within, coiled and ready. This is the threshold moment, the edge between one form of life and another. Can you feel the anticipation? Something that has never breathed air, never seen light, never moved freely, is about to enter our world. The egg that seemed so solid, so permanent, is about to give way. Watch now as a tiny hole appears in the shell. It is so small at first, just a pinprick. But from that pinprick, something emerges. A head, impossibly tiny, begins to push through. Then legs, thread thin. And slowly, methodically, the creature that has lived inside this egg for days begins to work its way out into the world. This is not a struggle, nor really. It is more like an unfolding, a gentle release. The shell that protected it now yields willingly, as if it knows its purpose is complete. And within moments, a tiny caterpillar stands free, its first act in this new world, a simple one. The newly hatched caterpillar does something you might not expect. Before it takes a single step forward, before it explores its new world, it turns back to the shell it just left behind. It eats it. Every last piece. This is its first meal, and it is perfect. The shell is rich in nutrients, a final gift from its life as an egg. There is something profound in this, is there not? The caterpillar consumes its own past, taking its first form into itself as nourishment. It is a moment of practical wisdom, yes. But it is also poetic. We are watching a creature literally incorporate where it came from into what it is becoming. Now fed, now free, the tiny caterpillar begins to explore. And what a world it has entered. To you and me, this might be just a leaf. But to a creature smaller than a grain of rice, this leaf is an entire landscape. Every vein is a highway, every curve a valley, every edge a horizon. The caterpillar moves slowly, methodically, feeling its way across this green expanse with tiny legs. 6 true legs at the front and several pairs of prolegs along its body, each one gripping the surface with hundreds of tiny hooks. You might think such a small creature would be fragile, vulnerable. But watch how it moves. There is confidence here, purpose. The caterpillar's first imperative is simple. Eat. Its mother chose this plant for a reason, and now that reason becomes clear. This is its host plant, the only food this caterpillar can digest, the only meal it will ever need. With tiny mandibles, it begins to chew. The sound, if you could hear it, would be a soft crunching, rhythmic and constant. Watch how it eats. It does not devour randomly. It moves along the edge of the leaf, taking careful bites, creating a scalloped pattern. There is an art to this feeding, an efficiency. Nothing is wasted. Every bite becomes energy, becomes growth, becomes the future. And grow it does. In these early days, the caterpillar's life is beautifully simple. Eat, rest, eat again. But even in this simplicity, there is wonder. Because this creature is not just getting bigger, it is preparing for something extraordinary. Every leaf it consumes, every moment of growth is bringing it closer to a transformation it cannot possibly understand. Do you think the caterpillar knows what it will become? Does some deep instinct whisper of wings and flight? Or does it simply exist moment by moment, following the ancient program written in its cells? Play cannot know, but we can watch and wonder and feel grateful for the privilege. As the caterpillar eats and grows, something remarkable begins to happen. Its skin, which seemed to fit perfectly when it hatched, starts to feel tight. You see, unlike you and me, the caterpillar cannot grow gradually. Its outer skin is more like armor, rigid and inflexible. So, as the soft body inside expands, the skin does not. Imagine wearing a suit that cannot stretch while your body grows larger by the hour. There comes a point where something must give. And that point is approaching now. The caterpillar slows its eating. It becomes still. It finds a safe spot on the underside of a leaf, and it prepares for what comes next. What happens next is called molting, and it is nothing short of miraculous. Beneath the old skin, a new skin has been forming, soft and pliable and ready. The caterpillar begins to move in a way you have not seen before, undulating, flexing. And then, starting at the head, the old skin begins to split. Slowly, carefully, the caterpillar works its way out, leaving behind a perfect ghostly shell of its former self. This new skin is larger, brighter, with colors more vivid. Look at the difference. It is as if the caterpillar has been reborn, emerging from its own past like a tiny green butterfly emerging from a chrysalis. Except this is just the beginning. This molting will happen again, then, and again. And again, after each molt, there is a brief moment of vulnerability. The new skin must harden, must adjust to the air. The caterpillar rests, utterly still, as if gathering itself for the next phase of growth. And then, when the moment is right, it begins again, feeding, growing, preparing for the next molt. This cycle will repeat 4, sometimes 5 times during the caterpillar's life. Each time it emerges larger, more vibrant, more itself. Each molt is a small transformation, a practice run for the great transformation to come. You and I, we grow so gradually we barely notice it. But the caterpillar experiences growth as a series of dramatic revelations, each one a threshold crossed, each one bringing it closer to its destiny. With each molt, the caterpillar's appetite grows. What began as delicate nibbles becomes voracious consumption. The creature that once struggled to chew through a single leaf now devours leaf after leaf, stem after stem. If you could measure its growth, you would be astonished. In just 2 weeks, a caterpillar can increase its body weight by 10,000 times. Imagine if you grew at that rate. It is almost incomprehensible, and yet the caterpillar makes it look effortless. It crawls, it eats, it rests, it eats again. Its entire world is this plant, this green universe of stems and leaves, and it is perfect. But the caterpillar's world is not without danger. It may seem peaceful here among the leaves, but predators are everywhere. Birds scan the foliage with sharp eyes. Wasps patrol the stems. Spiders wait in hidden corners. And yet, the caterpillar has defenses. Look at its coloration. Those bright stripes and spots are not random. They serve as warnings to predators that this caterpillar might be toxic, might taste terrible. Some caterpillars even develop spines and hairs that irritate would-be attackers. Others can regurgitate a bitter liquid when disturbed. Evolution has given each species its own survival strategy. And our caterpillar, moving slowly along its branch, carries millions of years of adaptation in its small body. There is something meditative about watching a caterpillar eat. The methodical chewing, the slow progression along the leaf edge, the periodic pauses to rest. It exists so completely in the present moment. There is no past for a caterpillar, no memory of the egg it came from. There is no future, no conception of wings or flight. There is only now. There is only now. Only this leaf, this bite, this moment of green existence. Perhaps there is a lesson in this for you and me. We spend so much time thinking about what was and what will be. The caterpillar simply is. And in that simple being, there is a kind of peace we might envy. Days turn into weeks. The caterpillar has molted 3 times now, and with each molt it has become more magnificent. Its colors are brilliant, its body robust and segmented like some tiny green dragon. It has stripped this plant nearly bare, and it senses, somehow, that the time for eating is drawing to a close. Inside its body, changes are beginning. Hormones are shifting. Instructions written in its DNA are activating for the first time. The caterpillar does not understand these changes, but it responds to them. Its behavior begins to shift. It eats less. It moves more deliberately. It is searching for something, though it does not know what. And then, one day, the caterpillar stops eating entirely. After weeks of constant consumption, weeks of single-minded focus on food, it simply stops. The leaf before it goes untouched. Instead, the caterpillar begins to wander. It leaves the plant that has been its entire world. It crawls down the stem, across the soil, up another plant entirely. It is searching, though, for what we cannot say. Or perhaps we can. Perhaps, on some level deeper than thought, the caterpillar knows it needs a safe place for what comes next. A place sheltered from rain and wind and hungry eyes. A place where it can surrender itself completely to the mystery. The wandering caterpillar is a liminal creature now. It is no longer what it was, but not yet what it will become. It crosses territories it has never seen, encounters textures and smells beyond its experience. Feel fear? Does it feel anticipation? We project our emotions onto this small traveler, but the truth is, we cannot know its inner world. What we can know is this. The caterpillar is driven by something ancient and irresistible. Every cell in its body is preparing for the greatest transformation in the natural world. And you and I, we are about to witness it. So breathe deeply, settle into this moment, and prepare yourself for what comes next. The caterpillar has found its place. Perhaps it is the underside of a sturdy leaf, or a protected branch, or a secluded corner where the elements cannot reach. It does not matter exactly where. What matters is that this is the spot. This is where the transformation will occur. Now, the caterpillar begins to prepare with a skill it has never used before, yet somehow knows perfectly. From a gland in its head, it produces silk. Thin, strong, nearly invisible thread. The caterpillar weaves this silk back and forth, creating a small pad on the surface. This pad will serve as an anchor, a foundation for what comes next. Watch the precision of this work, the patience of each movement. With the silk pad complete, the caterpillar does something that looks almost like a handstand. It grips the pad with its rear prolegs, then releases its grip everywhere else, letting its body hang downward. It dangles there in a J shape, head pointing down, completely still. If you did not know better, you might think something was wrong. What? Nothing is wrong. Everything is exactly as it should be. The caterpillar is entering a state of profound stillness, preparing for a process that will take every ounce of energy it has stored. For hours, sometimes a full day, it hangs like this, waiting, gathering, becoming ready for the point of no return. And then it begins. The caterpillar's skin starts to split one final time, but this molt is different from all the others. What emerges is not a larger caterpillar. What emerges is something else entirely. The old skin peels away, working its way down the dangling body, revealing underneath not more skin, but a smooth, hard surface. Chrysalis. The caterpillar that hung in a J shape is gone, replaced by this jade green capsule, glistening and wet. For a few moments, the chrysalis is soft, malleable. It pulses and moves, adjusting itself, finding its final shape. Then, gradually, it hardens, becomes still. Becomes still. Becomes a perfect, sealed vessel. Look at this chrysalis. Is it not beautiful? The jade green color with subtle golden markings, the streamlined shape like a tiny pendant hanging from nature's own chain. It looks so solid, so permanent, like a jewel carved from stone. And yet, inside, the caterpillar has not simply hidden itself away. It has initiated its own dissolution. Right now, in this very moment, the tissues of the caterpillar are breaking down. Muscles, organs, everything except for a few vital structures, all liquefying into a rich cellular soup. It sounds like death, does it not? What? It is not death. It is something far stranger. What is happening inside this chrysalis defies easy explanation. The caterpillar's body has become a soup of undifferentiated cells, yes. But within that soup, certain groups of cells remain intact. They are called imaginal discs, and they have been there, dormant, since the caterpillar was an egg. All through its eating and growing and molting, these discs waited. And now, finally, their time has come. Each disc contains instructions for a specific body part. One disc will become a wing, another an antenna, another a compound eye. These discs begin to grow, to differentiate, to organize themselves. And slowly, impossibly, from the soup of the caterpillar, the form of a butterfly begins to emerge. Days pass. The chrysalis hangs in stillness, a perfect picture of patience. To look at it, you would see no change, no movement, no sign of the revolution occurring within. This is the great mystery at the heart of metamorphosis. How does a creature completely disassemble itself and reassemble as something utterly different? How do those imaginal discs know what to become? How does the butterfly know how to be a butterfly when it has never been one before? Science can describe the mechanisms, can trace the hormones and the genes, but the deeper wonder remains. This is transformation at a level so profound it seems almost magical. And it is happening right now inside this jade green chrysalis in perfect silence. Inside the chrysalis, the transformation accelerates. Wing structures are forming now, folded impossibly tight against what will become the body. Legs are developing, not the stubby prolegs of the caterpillar, but long, delicate limbs with tiny claws at their tips. The head is reshaping itself, the chewing mouthparts of the caterpillar dissolving away, replaced by a coiled proboscis designed not for eating leaves but for sipping nectar. Even the nervous system is rewiring, adapting from the needs of a crawling creature to the needs of a flying one. Every system is being redesigned, rebuilt, reimagined. And through it all, the chrysalis hangs in stillness, giving nothing away. As the days progress, you might notice subtle changes if you watch closely. The chrysalis, which was opaque jade green, begins to become translucent. You can start to see shadows within, hints of color, suggestions of form. The orange and black of the future wings become visible through the shell, like a secret being gradually revealed. This transparency tells us something important. The metamorphosis is nearing completion. The butterfly within is nearly ready. Not yet. There is still work to be done, still energy being expended in this silent crucible. The chrysalis that seemed so solid is now more like a window, and through that window we can glimpse the miracle about to unfold. There is something humbling about watching this chrysalis. Think about what it represents. Complete surrender. The caterpillar gave up everything it was for the promise of something it had never experienced. It dissolved itself on faith. If a caterpillar can be said to have faith, it trusted in a process it could not understand, encoded in instructions it did not consciously know. You and I, we resist change so often. We cling to what we know, who we are, even when transformation calls to us. But the caterpillar shows us another way. Sometimes, to become what we are meant to be, we must be willing to completely let go of what we are. To dissolve. To trust. To surrender to the mystery. Inside the chrysalis, the butterfly is now complete. Every structure is formed. Every wing scale is in place. The proboscis is coiled. The antennae are curled against the head. The legs are folded tight. This creature that has never breathed air, never seen light, never felt the wind, is ready to emerge. But there is a timing to this, an ancient rhythm. The butterfly does not simply decide it is time. It waits for the right conditions, the right temperature, the right humidity, the right moment in the day. And when all these factors align, when the time is exactly right, the final act of metamorphosis begins. The chrysalis that has been home and womb and workshop is about to give up its treasure. Watch carefully now. The chrysalis begins to change. A split appears at the bottom, near where it attaches to the silk pad. It is a subtle crack at first, barely visible. Yet it widens. The butterfly inside is pushing, working, using muscles that have never been used before to break free of its shell. This is hard work, essential work. The struggle to emerge is what forces fluid from the butterfly's body into its crumpled wings, inflating them for the first time. If you were to help, to split the chrysalis open to make it easier, you would doom the butterfly. Its wings would never inflate properly. It would never fly. The struggle itself is necessary. The difficulty is part of the design, and then, in a moment that never fails to inspire wonder, first the legs grasping for purchase, then the body wet and swollen, and finally the wings, folded impossibly small, begin to slide free of the chrysalis shell. The butterfly clings to the now empty chrysalis, hanging upside down, and for the first time in its existence, it is exposed to the world. It looks nothing like the caterpillar it was. Different shape, different color, different purpose. This is not growth. This is not development. This is transformation in its truest sense. One creature has become another, as if by magic. Though we know the science, the wonder remains. The newly emerged butterfly hangs quietly, and if you looked at it now, you might be concerned. Its body seems too large, swollen with fluid. Its wings are tiny, crumpled things, looking more like crinkled paper than the majestic structures they will become. But this is as it should be. The butterfly must now undertake one of the most critical tasks of its new life. It must pump fluid from its swollen body into the veins of its wings, inflating them to their full size. Watch as it hangs there perfectly still except for subtle pulsing movements. Inside, its newly formed heart is working, pushing hemolymph through the wing veins. And slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the wings begin to expand. Over the course of an hour, maybe two, you can watch the wings transform. They unfold like origami in reverse, each crease smoothing out, each section expanding. The veins become visible, like the ribs of a delicate fan. Colors emerge, patterns reveal themselves. What seemed impossible becomes real before your eyes. The wings that were crumpled and small now span several inches, intricate and beautiful beyond measure. But they are not yet ready. They are still soft, still damp. The butterfly must wait now for the next crucial phase. It must let its wings dry and harden in the air. And so it hangs, patient and still, as its wings catch the light for the first time. During this waiting period, the butterfly is at its most vulnerable. It cannot fly. It cannot escape danger. It can only hang and hope that no predator finds it. But look at what has just occurred. A creature that spent weeks eating leaves, growing fat and slow, has become this: delicate, elegant, covered in scales so fine they look like powder, with wings made of the thinnest membrane, veined like leaves, with compound eyes that can see colors you cannot imagine, with antennae sensitive to scents on the air. This is not the same organism. The caterpillar is gone, utterly gone, replaced by something so different it defies comparison. And yet, the butterfly carries within it all the experiences encoded in that caterpillar's cells. As the wings dry, the butterfly begins to test them. Tiny movements at first, flutter, a gentle opening and closing. It is learning its body, discovering abilities it has never possessed. The wings are not just for show. Each one is covered in thousands upon thousands of microscopic scales, arranged in patterns that create the colors we see. Some scales contain pigments. Others are structured to refract light, creating iridescent blues and greens that shift as the angle changes. Every scale is a marvel of biological engineering, and together they create a flying work of art. The butterfly flexes its wings again, feeling their strength, sensing the air resistance. Almost ready now. Almost. And then the butterfly's wings are dry. They are hard. Ready. The butterfly opens them fully for the first time, and they catch the light in a blaze of color. Orange and black, or blue and white, or yellow and red, depending on the species. Each pattern unique, each design serving purposes both beautiful and practical. Warning colors, camouflage patterns. Signals to potential mates. All of this encoded in the butterfly's genes, expressed in the layout of thousands of scales. The butterfly holds its wings open, basking in the warmth of the sun, absorbing energy it will need for flight. This is a moment of completion and beginning both. There is something deeply moving about this moment. The butterfly has never flown, has never even attempted flight, and yet it knows exactly what to do. Instinct, we call it, but that word seems inadequate. This knowledge is deeper than thought, more fundamental than learning. It is written in the architecture of its wings, in the wiring of its nervous system, in every cell of its transformed body. The butterfly knows it can fly the way you know you can breathe. It is not a skill to be learned, but a capability to be discovered. And in just a moment, we will watch that discovery occur. But for now, let us simply appreciate this butterfly in its moment of readiness, poised between what was and what will be. Watch closely now. The butterfly begins to move its wings more deliberately. Up and down, listing, healing. And then, without ceremony, without hesitation, it simply lets go. It releases its grip on the branch or leaf or empty chrysalis, and it falls. For a fraction of a second it drops, and then its wings beat, and instead of falling, it rises. It lifts into the air on wings that did not exist a day ago, propelled by muscles that have never been used. This is not a first attempt. This is flight, pure and simple, as if the butterfly has been flying all its life. And in a sense, perhaps it has. This ability was always there, folded away, waiting. The flight of a butterfly is unlike any other. It is not the arrow-straight trajectory of a bee or the hovering precision of a hummingbird. The butterfly flies in loops and spirals, rising and falling on the air, seeming almost to dance. This is not clumsiness. This is strategy. The erratic flight makes the butterfly harder to catch, harder to predict. A bird pursuing it must constantly adjust, constantly recalculate. And often, the butterfly simply outmaneuvers its pursuer. Watch how it moves. Each beat of those wings carries it not just forward, but up, sideways, in unpredictable arcs. There is joy in this flight, or so it seems to us. Freedom and movement after a life spent crawling. But flight is not just about escape. It is about discovery. The butterfly that emerged hours ago has a new imperative now, as fundamental as the caterpillar's need to eat. It must find nectar. Unlike the caterpillar, which ate solid food with powerful mandibles, the butterfly can only drink. Its mouthparts have transformed into a proboscis, a long, coiled tube that can extend deep into flowers. The butterfly has never used this proboscis before. It has never even seen a flower. And yet, it knows exactly what to do. It flies from bloom to bloom, testing, searching, until it finds one that calls to it. Then it lands, delicate as a whisper, on petals that barely bend under its weight. Watch as the butterfly tastes the flower. Yes, tastes. Its feet, so delicate they can barely be seen, are covered in sensors that can detect sugars. The butterfly walks across the flower, tasting with every step until it finds the nectar well. Then, for the first time in its new life, it uncoils its proboscis. This remarkable appendage extends like a party favor, reaching deep into the flower's center where the nectar pools. And the butterfly drinks. This is its first meal as a butterfly, and it is utterly different from anything the caterpillar ever ate. Liquid sweetness instead of green fiber, sipped instead of chewed, and in this moment the transformation is complete. The caterpillar is truly gone. Only the butterfly remains. As the butterfly feeds, something else is happening, something it does not know but is vital to the world around it. Pollen from the flower is sticking to its body, to its legs, to the tiny hairs covering its wings. And when the butterfly moves to the next flower, it will carry that pollen with it, transferring it from one bloom to another. This is pollination, one of the most important processes in nature. Without butterflies and bees and other pollinators, many plants could not reproduce. Roots would not form. Seeds would not develop. The butterfly, seeking only nectar for itself, serves a role far larger than its own survival. It is part of a vast web of interdependence, a single thread in nature's intricate tapestry. The butterfly spends its days now in this pattern, flying, feeding, resting in the sun with wings spread to catch warmth. It has gone from eating constantly to eating rarely, from crawling slowly to flying freely, from solitude to the possibility of connection, because there is one more transformation waiting, one more imperative encoded in its genes. The butterfly must find a mate. It must ensure that the cycle continues, that there will be more eggs on more leaves, more caterpillars eating and growing, more chrysalises forming, more butterflies emerging. This is the purpose that drove the entire metamorphosis. Not just to fly, but to reproduce, to create the next generation, to ensure that the miracle goes on. The butterfly's keen senses, so different from those it possessed as a caterpillar, are tuned now to a new signal. It can detect pheromones on the air, chemical messages released by potential mates. These molecules are so potent that a male butterfly can detect a female from miles away. Imagine that, a single molecule drifting on the breeze, carrying information and invitation. The butterfly follows this invisible trail, flying with new purpose, searching for the source. And when it finds another butterfly, the courtship begins. This is not the simple encounter of moths drawn to light. This is ritual. This is dance. This is connection performed in 3 dimensions of flight. Watch as the two butterflies circle each other. Their flight, usually so erratic, becomes synchronized. They spiral upward together, wings beating in harmony. They separate and come together, like dancers following steps. Neither has learned, but both know perfectly. This is the courtship flight, and it serves many purposes. It allows each butterfly to assess the other. Is this a suitable mate? Is this butterfly healthy, strong, capable of passing good genes to the next generation? The dance is a test and a promise both. And when the dance is complete, when both butterflies are satisfied, they land. And the next act of the cycle begins. After mating, the female butterfly's behavior changes. She is no longer interested in finding a mate. Now she has a different mission. She must find the right plant, the same species her mother found, the species she ate as a caterpillar, though she does not remember eating. Now, does she know which plant is correct? Some scientists believe she remembers it from her caterpillar days, that some memory survives the dissolution and rebuilding of metamorphosis. Others think she simply recognizes it instinctively, that the knowledge is built into her senses. However it works, the female butterfly knows. She flies from plant to plant, testing leaves with her feet until she finds the one that feels exactly right. Then, on the underside of a leaf, on the exact plant she needs, the female butterfly lays her eggs. One by one, she deposits them, each one a tiny capsule of potential, each one containing everything needed to start the cycle again. She does not lay all her eggs in one place. That would be too risky. Instead, she spreads them across multiple plants, ensuring that if one site fails, others might succeed. This is ancient wisdom, evolved over millions of years. When she is finished, she will have laid dozens, sometimes hundreds of eggs, each one a chance, each one a new beginning. And then, her purpose fulfilled, she will return to her life of flight and feeding until the brief span of her butterfly existence comes to an end. Most butterflies live only a few weeks as adults. Some species last longer, especially those that migrate. The monarch butterfly, for instance, can live 6 months or more, time enough to make an epic journey from Canada to Mexico and back. But for most butterflies, the adult stage is brief, a fleeting moment of flight and color between the long, slow caterpillar stage and the eventual return to the earth. In those weeks, the butterfly will fly thousands of wing beats. We'll visit hundreds of flowers. We'll see sights the caterpillar never imagined. And then, wings worn and faded, it will find a quiet place to rest one final time. The cycle is complete. But it also continues in those eggs laid on leaves waiting to hatch. And so we come full circle, back to an egg on a leaf, back to the beginning of the miracle. The butterfly we watched emerge, fly, mate, and lay eggs is gone now. But the story does not end. It renews. Inside those eggs, cells are dividing. Caterpillars are forming. And soon, tiny mandibles will chew through the shell, and new caterpillars will begin their journey. They will eat and grow and molt. They will form chrysalises and dissolve and reform. They will emerge as butterflies and fly and mate and lay more eggs. Generation after generation, the cycle continues, an endless transformation, a perpetual renewal. This is the gift of metamorphosis. Not just change, but the promise that change goes on forever. As we step back from the intimate details of the butterfly's life, we might ask ourselves what this transformation means for us. We humans do not undergo metamorphosis, not in the literal sense. We do not dissolve ourselves and rebuild in a chrysalis. And yet, do we not change? Are there not moments in your life when you became someone different? When you let go of who you were to become who you needed to be? The butterfly shows us that transformation is possible, that change, even radical change, is built into the fabric of life itself. What would it mean to embrace that? To trust in the process, even when it requires us to surrender the familiar? The caterpillar does not resist its transformation. It does not cling to its caterpillar self, does not mourn the loss of its many legs or its appetite for leaves. It simply follows the program encoded in its cells, surrendering to what must be. You and I, we are not so trusting. We resist change. We fear the unknown. We cling to who we are, even when who we are no longer serves us. But perhaps the caterpillar can teach us something. Perhaps transformation requires surrender. Perhaps to become the butterfly, we must be willing to stop being the caterpillar. To let go. To trust that on the other side of dissolution, something beautiful is waiting to emerge. There is also a lesson in the chrysalis itself, that period of apparent inactivity when nothing seems to be happening. How often in your life have you felt like you were in a chrysalis, waiting, unable to move forward or back? Those times can feel frustrating, even frightening. But the chrysalis reminds us that invisible transformation is still transformation. That just because we cannot see progress does not mean progress is not occurring. Inside every period of stillness, inside every waiting, the chrysalis does not rush. It takes exactly as long as it takes. And when the time is right, the butterfly emerges, perfect and complete. And what of the butterfly's flight? That moment when it first takes wing, when it discovers it can do something it has never done before? Have you ever discovered a new capability within yourself? A strength you did not know you had? A talent that surprised you? The butterfly does not question whether it can fly. It simply flies. It trusts in its own transformation. Imagine what you might discover if you trusted yourself the same way. If you took the leap, spread your wings, and found out what you are capable of. The butterfly was always going to fly. It was encoded in its nature from the moment it was an egg. Perhaps your capabilities are encoded in you as well, waiting only for you to unfold them. The life cycle of the butterfly also reminds us that transformation is not an ending. It is a beginning. The butterfly emerges not to rest, but to fly. Not to conclude its story, but to start a new chapter. It mates and lays eggs, ensuring the cycle continues. In this, there is hope. Our transformations, too, are not endpoints. They are doorways to new possibilities. When we emerge from our own chrysalises, when we discover our wings, the question becomes not, what was I, but what will I do now? What will I create? How will I fly? The butterfly's answer is to live fully, to seek nectar, to dance in the air, and to ensure the miracle continues. What will your answer be? As we near the end of our journey together, I want you to carry this thought with you. You are not fixed. You are not finished. Like the butterfly, you contain within yourself the capacity for transformation. You have caterpillar days when the work is to grow and gather strength. You have chrysalis days when the work is invisible and internal. And you have butterfly days when you discover you can fly. All of these days are necessary. All of these stages are sacred. The butterfly does not judge its caterpillar self. It does not regret its time in the chrysalis. Each stage was perfect for what it was. And so are you, exactly as you are right now, in whatever stage you find yourself. And so our story of transformation comes to a close, though the transformation itself never truly ends. Somewhere right now, a butterfly is laying eggs. Somewhere, a caterpillar is taking its first bite of a leaf. Somewhere, a chrysalis is forming. Somewhere, a butterfly is emerging, spreading wings for the first time, discovering flight. The miracle is happening constantly, all around us, in gardens and forests, in meadows and jungles, on every continent except Antarctica. The dance of metamorphosis never stops. It is one of the fundamental rhythms of life on Earth, playing out in thousands of species, in countless individual lives, moment by moment, day by day. When you see a butterfly now, I hope you will see it differently. Not just a pretty insect, but a living miracle. A creature that has literally transformed itself, that has died and been reborn without dying, that has discovered capabilities it never possessed. Every butterfly you see has gone through what we have witnessed together. Everyone has been an egg, a caterpillar, a chrysalis. Everyone has emerged and discovered flight. And everyone carries within it the future, the promise of more eggs, more transformations, more butterflies. They are not just beautiful. They are testaments to the power of change, living proof that radical transformation is not only possible but natural. As you drift off to sleep tonight or rest in this moment of calm, let the image of the butterfly accompany you. Let it remind you that change is possible, that transformation is written into the nature of life itself. Whatever chrysalis you might be in, whatever caterpillar days you are living, know that the butterfly is waiting. Not waiting to arrive from somewhere else, waiting inside you, ready to unfold, ready to fly. The question is not whether you can transform. The question is only whether you will trust the process, will surrender to the dissolution, will emerge when the time is right. The butterfly shows us how. We need only watch and learn and believe. Think about the patience required for metamorphosis. The caterpillar does not hurry. It eats when it is time to eat. It molts when it is time to molt. It forms a chrysalis when it is time to transform. And the butterfly emerges when it is time to emerge. Not before. Not after. Exactly when it should. In our world of hurry and hustle, of forced growth and artificial timelines, the butterfly reminds us that true transformation has its own rhythm. You cannot rush a chrysalis. You cannot force a butterfly to emerge before it is ready. And perhaps you cannot force your own transformation either. Perhaps you must simply trust that it is happening even when you cannot see it, even when all seems still. As our time together draws to an end, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey, for allowing me to share with you the story of the butterfly, this tale of transformation that never ceases to fill me with wonder. Whether you watch to fall asleep, to relax, to learn, or simply to experience beauty, I hope you found what you were seeking. I hope the butterfly story touched something in you. I hope it reminded you that you too are capable of transformation, that you too can emerge from your chrysalis and discover you have wings. The butterfly does not know it is a miracle, but we do. And in witnessing its transformation, perhaps we remember our own miraculous nature. Rest now. Let these images and words drift through your mind like butterflies through a garden. Let the transformation you have witnessed remind you of your own potential, your own capacity for change. And remember that no matter how dark the chrysalis, no matter how complete the dissolution, the butterfly is always there, waiting to emerge. Transformation is not an exception to the rule of life. It is the rule. Dynasting. Everything changes. Thing transforms. And in that transformation, there is beauty beyond measure. Thank you for spending this hour with me, exploring the miracle of metamorphosis. May you find peace in your own transformation, and may you always remember that you, like the butterfly, were made to fly. Our journey through the metamorphosis of the butterfly is complete, but the transformation itself continues eternally. Every day, in gardens and wild places, the miracle unfolds again. Is hatch. Caterpillars eat and grow. Chrysalises form and butterflies emerge. May you carry this story with you. May it remind you in difficult times that transformation is possible. May it comfort you in stillness with the knowledge that invisible change is still change. And may it inspire you to spread your own wings and fly. What transformation is waiting inside your own chrysalis? What wings are you ready to unfold? Rest well, dream of butterflies, and remember that you too are a miracle in progress.